Hi, folks. I'm Jamie Hiles.
I'm Lydia Judy.
And I am not Frozen. You guys thought it was Frozen.
Dumb. Welcome to Screen Bloody Movies, a podcast where we review a horror movie each week, go over the horror news, and Derek gets a dad joke in just at the beginning. He has to start us off strong. Isn't that right? Derek, You've got a new set today. Is this your John Wayne Gacy set?
No, this is my under renovations. We'll see what happens.
So you're building a new set. Is that what you're saying?
Nope, that is not what I'm saying. My computer went out at my normal prison cell, so I got moved to the commons area.
That's good. That's good to know. Glad you're putting a lot of effort into your set deck, like Lydia and I.
Well, you know, I have plans, man. I have plans. One day.
How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing great.
This is my answer.
Yeah, we all just like doing
Listen,
wonderful.
if you have to review Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, need a glass of this. Glass of the old liquid courage.
Grandpa's cough syrup.
Guys, I just wanted to tell you that I had a really crazy nightmare. Like, I have been dying to tell you this all day, okay? Last night, I had a nightmare about Leprechaun.
That's an omen, Lydia.
Isn't that crazy?
About the movie
Yeah.
Leprechaun, like that character?
I was running through a house and I was calling for help, and I'm like, for some reason, screaming into closets for help, like asking for like magical creatures to come help me. And I see like, yes, exactly. I see a door open in the back of a closet, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like what's gonna come out of that door? And Leprechaun comes out of the door, like Leprechaun from the movies.
Warwick Davis
Straight up comes at me, and I was so scared out of my mind.
Did he have any funny quips that he
It was just genuinely scary coming at me. I was like thinking like, how am I going to defeat him? How do you defeat Leprechaun? And I'm like racking my brain, like, how does the movie go? You know, like, how do I do? Yes.
Four-leaf clover.
So
Don't say bless you.
my brain was like fire. So I'm like,
Kills
thinking,
everything.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
throw your
fire.
shoes at him?
And he's like taunting me, like, you can't defeat me, and like he's just coming at me. It was the scariest thing I've ever seen, and now I think I've developed a new fear of Leprechaun. I think it's truly scary.
That's a crazy dream. You know what? Derek's right. That is an omen. Because let's get into the horror news.
Okay.
And we start off with Lionsgate is reviving the Leprechaun franchise with a new movie from director Felipe Vargas.
Was this planned?
Gosh.
It was not, but
It was
that's
not
glorious.
planned. I was waiting to tell you guys all day.
The hardest part about this gig is figuring out the segues, and Lydia did that for me today.
Unbeknownst to her, apparently.
So yeah, this is like hot off the presses, guys. I mean, this was 2 days ago. It was announced that Felipe Vargas is doing a reimagining of the Leprechaun franchise. Mike Van Weiss is writing the screenplay. It's being produced through Vertigo Entertainment. So like, this is a thing that's happening. The only downside is it doesn't look like Warwick Davis is reprising his role as the Leprechaun.
That's a tragedy.
That is a tragedy.
But we're getting a new Leprechaun movie. Lydia, how do you feel about this in light of your new recent fear?
I'm scared. I'm just scared now. I was never scared of Leprechaun before. I always thought he was like really amazing. And now I'm like, I was there. Okay. I saw him in person. It was so vivid and so real. And I was genuinely horrified.
What do you say, Derek?
Man, it's going to be real hard. So this is one of those characters that Warwick Davis is Leprechaun. So
yeah.
Yes.
That they're going to have to nail the casting in order for this to have a chance.
They did do a reboot a few years back, if you guys remember. Leprechaun Returns.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like the actor that played him was very fine. He did a fine job. So I'm wondering if they will bring him back. We actually have to get into that one. But first, we have like fucking 4 or 5 more leprechauns to get through. I mean, there's a lot of those. I mean, he goes to space. He's in the hood twice.
That's true.
He's played by Hornswoggle one time. I mean, there's a lot going on. So, yeah, that's interesting news. I thought that would be a good way to kick things off after you said that, Lydia.
Nice.
Also, Cher. You guys are familiar with Cher, right?
Love
Like
Cher.
sharing your feelings or
No,
sharing
like Sonny and Cher.
pride? Oh,
yeah. Cher.
Like when
guess
he
what?
shared his feelings
Don't
with a
even
tree.
do it. Don't even do it. So,
Sorry.
Cher, remember, she hates you, Derek, because of your Sonny Bono
She
show.
does. Yeah, she stopped watching the episodes.
That was the last day she watched. But
Cher
she
is
is
not a fan of
producing.
us.
She is producing a horror movie titled Little Bites, starring Heather Langenkamp and Barbara Crampton.
I'm down.
Yeah.
What?
Right?
Do they have an advanced opportunity to buy a ticket?
No, but
I'm
that's exciting news, right? I mean,
Little
Heather
Bites. What
Langenkamp
could
is
that
great.
be?
So it's a new horror movie. Let's see what we have on it. Mindy, a young widow and mother who tries to protect her daughter Alice from a flesh-eating monster named Agar. Mindy has been secretly sacrificing her own life by allowing the creature to feast on her body as she keeps Alice hidden away at her grandmother's house.
Oh.
So that's the plot. We know that Chaz Bono is also a producer on this. So it's Cher and Chaz that are doing this. What do you guys think of this?
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Chrissy Fox, by the way, is who is playing the lead. I just saw it. You think it sounds pretty cool, Lydia?
Yeah.
I'll support it.
Yeah. Barbara Crampton. Heather Langenkamp. What's not to support, right?
Right.
Yep.
So we have some fresh new images from. You guys ready for it?
Mhm.
Twisted Metal.
Is it?
Do you guys
this
remember?
is not the one that.
This is the Nev Campbell Twisted Metal for Peacock
Oh yeah. What's
that we talked
this-
about.
A little off topic, but like, never mind.
Let me
Never
show
mind.
you some images of this.
Go ahead.
So there's Nev, of course, looking beautiful as ever. Right?
Right. Love
Anthony
it.
Mackie. Yeah, great so far. Check this out. Sweet Tooth,
Oh.
Mhm.
played by Samoa Joe. What do you guys think of this?
I never played the game, so
Ah.
I'm gonna come to this with a fresh mindset.
The images look great,
They
right?
do look good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like the clown. Looks awesome. You said his
Yeah,
name was
so-
Sweet Tooth.
Sweet Tooth is the clown, and Samoa Joe, the wrestler, Derek.
Yeah.
He is playing the Sweet Tooth, like the embodiment of him. But Will Arnett is voicing Sweet Tooth.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Why not? That's gonna be perfect if you ask me.
I really do love Will Arnett's voice so much. But that's
You're
not who
muted,
I would have
Derek.
picked for that.
You son of a bitch! You're muted.
Dude, I promised myself I would not do that.
You
this
do
time.
every week. Every week you promise.
Will Arnett, is he the guy who did Batman, the Lego Batman?
Yeah.
He is.
I'm down with
Yeah.
that. That's a good one.
Yeah, he's hilarious. You know what an underrated role for him is that makes me laugh is the fucking
Hot Rod.
Hot Rod. He's amazing in. But the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, he plays Vern.
Oh.
He's
I
so
was gonna
funny
say
as
that.
Vern. Yeah.
Yep.
And if you guys have not checked out Murderville on Netflix, you've got to watch it. It's an entirely improvised, like, they have a new celebrity in each week, and there's a new mystery to solve, and he plays the same detective trying to solve all these murders. It's hilarious.
Yes. I like their podcast too. Him and Jason Bateman and
Yeah. The Arrested Development one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Damn it! Why am I drawing a blank on the other guy's name?
David Cross?
No. He was in Will and Grace.
Oh,
Dang it, that's gonna bug me.
Sean Hayes?
Sean Hayes. I could only think of his name in Will and Grace.
You could always think of Jack, couldn't you? You're like,
stumping
Jack!
me. Yeah.
Fucking Jack. All right, guys. We got some tangential Friday the 13th news, maybe.
Mhm.
So Harry Manfredini, as you guys know, is the composer of all of the Friday movies up till Jason Goes to Hell. Said that he is working on music for a new unannounced Friday the 13th game.
Mhm.
On a similar note, so that's great news, right? A new Friday the 13th game. On a bummer note, Gun Media's Friday the 13th game that exists, that's great, loses their license at the end of this year.
Oh.
So the game isn't going offline at the end of this year. You can't play it online anymore.
That's
So
a
you can
bummer.
only basically you can't buy it anymore. The only way to play it is if you own a physical copy of it, and you can only play the localized version. So that's sad. But what do you guys think of this, like, Friday the 13th game news? I mean, we're getting quite a bit of Friday the 13th news coming at us recently, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sad that because I've seen you play the game. I think I tried to play it one time. I wasn't very good at it, but like that's a lot of time people have invested in that. That sucks that it gets they're forced to take that down. I could see like not letting them sell any more copies, but that's just a tragedy.
Yeah, the license has ran out. But let's stay on the topic of video games in horror. So, guys, who's the most important person to this podcast?
Tom Atkins.
Who else is the other most important person to this podcast?
Lydia Judy.
Our Lord and Savior, John Carpenter.
John Carpenter.
Preview.
Damn it.
Of course. Insert Bison clip here.
Of course.
So, John Carpenter, Lydia, has developed a new video game called Toxic Commando. He wrote and developed this video game. It's a first-person zombie shooter.
You were talking about this last week, right?
I talked to you about it, yes. Not on the show. What do you guys think of this?
John Carpenter at it again.
He's just an innovator, isn't he? He's the innovator.
I don't even get
Directing
it.
from his couch, fucking directing video games,
Hey man, when you're good at your craft, it matters not the medium.
Dude, I saw the trailer for it. The trailer is a lot of fun, and it looks good. I tweeted out, you had me at John Carpenter's.
Yeah.
Literally, all you have to do is put John Carpenter's in front of something, and I'll probably check it out. And by probably, I mean absolutely will. Absolutely will check it out. That's how much that man means to me.
Yeah.
The game has the following setup. A science experiment to extract power from the Earth's core goes horribly wrong, waking the so-called sludge god, an entity capable of transforming people into zombies. Players will be able to play solo or cooperatively, choosing from a variety of deadly equipment and ability to create the
Your sound just went out for some reason for me.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because the fucking weird video kicked in, and I couldn't.
Oh,
I was
really?
trying to talk over it. It was like, you like your body all shaved, and I'm like, shut the fuck up! I don't care about it. Did you hear any of that synopsis I read?
Yeah.
All of it except for like the last like 2 sentences.
Oh, you don't need to. What do you guys think?
That sounds crazy. A sludge god?
Sludge god that transforms people into zombies. You can pick you can either do it solo or cooperative play. You can choose your weapons, and you take on hordes of zombies.
Now he plays video games, right? He's an active
Yes,
video game
he's
player.
a big time video game player. Yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
nerd.
So
Love it.
man, I wish I had his wife. She must be very understanding.
Okay, wow. Glad you qualified that.
I'm kidding. I love my wife.
Don't worry, we can cut this part out, Derek. She'll never know. She never listens anyway.
It's true. It is true.
All right.
I'm game.
She doesn't listen anyways. We could talk all the shit we want.
All the shit we want.
Jake occasionally listens, so I have to be a little careful.
Yes. So Joe Lynch's Suitable Flesh, which we've been talking about for the last few weeks, his Lovecraftian flick has just been acquired by RLJE Films and Shudder. So we're going to get, it's going to be, give a theatrical release, VOD, digital release, and then streamed on Shudder. So we know how we're going to be able to watch Joe Lynch's Suitable Flesh, which as soon as it comes out, if it's me or Derek's turn, we'll pick it, right, Derek?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to sign up for Shudder for 1 month. I had a subscription, but I let it go because I wasn't spending enough time on there. But I will renew it for 1 month just to watch his movie, give him some support. So
Always. We will always support Joe. And then finally, guys, this last bit of news. Michael Keaton was just interviewed, and he spoke about working on Beetlejuice 2.
mm-hmm.
And he says that he's having a lot of fun working on it, in that they're doing it the old way with practical effects.
Oh, good.
And with practical effects, with improv. He said Beetlejuice is the most fucking fun you can have working. It's so fun. It's so great. And you know what it is? We're doing it exactly like we did the first movie. There's a woman in the great waiting room for the afterlife, literally with a fishing line. So he's like, yeah, he's having a good time. So that's very good news.
Nice.
Are you guys
Good.
pumped for Beetlejuice 2?
I'm pumped now that I know that it's going to be practical and fun,
Improv-y.
funny. Yeah, it's going to be great.
Do we think that they will do at least one little segment that is stop motion?
I hope so.
Absolutely.
I hope so too.
I hope worms. I hope we see a sandworm.
Yeah, it's like when I hear practical and Beetlejuice, I think of like stop motion worms and stuff,
Fishing line. Yeah. Great makeup effects.
Before we move on, did you guys watch the cartoon?
Yeah.
The Beetlejuice cartoon, Lydia?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You did? Okay, you're old enough to remember those? Okay. So
I watched them when I was very little. I did.
Let us throw it in there, Lydia, because you're a young person. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I actually really enjoyed the cartoon.
I really enjoyed it too when I was a kid. I mean, that's how I'd watch the movie, and then if the movie wasn't around and stuff, I would find the cartoon on, and that's how I was get my Beetlejuice fix. I still have a Beetlejuice action figure, actually. I kept from the 80s. Still have it. Yeah, I'm excited for this. I'm excited for the Michael Keaton renaissance that we're having. Derek, this week, you and I will be going to see The Flash.
Yes, we will.
Seeing the return of Keaton as Batman.
Mm-hmm.
We'll put our opinions up of that at some time, too. It's not horror related, but it rules. So, and that wraps up the horror news, guys. I tried to stretch it out so we wouldn't have to talk about this movie, but here we are.
By the way, I just want to say that I blame you, Jamie. I blame you. Yeah. You should have tried harder to talk me out of this movie.
You spent 15 minutes trying to do it.
You should have went 20.
We almost had him, didn't we, Lydia? We were close.
I thought he was going to blame you because you are the one that brought it up in horror news in the past.
You did a couple weeks ago, and I was like, yeah, when my turn comes around, I got to do it.
I brought it up because it was something we needed to follow because it was horror news. So here we are. Now, I guess we're kind of coloring our opinion of the movie already, but we're going to talk about it anyway. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Which, by the way, I looked up today. I was like, why the hell is Winnie the Pooh called Winnie the Pooh?
Yes.
And I looked it up. Have you looked that up too, Lydia?
Yes.
Good.
I had no.
Tell why.
Yeah, I've just heard this. I didn't look it up today, but I've heard this before. It was actually based on a real bear.
A Winnie bear.
A Winnie bear.
Yeah. So I don't know why though.
What is
Winnie? It's just fine. It just
what's
is
a
a
Winnie
thing.
bear?
It's some kind of bear from Canada, I think. Winnipeg. I think Winnipeg, Canada. So they call them Winnie bears. I believe. I'm not a bear expert, so I don't know, but that's kind of what I got from it. Either way, it's not relevant to this movie at all because nothing is relevant to this movie at all when it comes to the old stories. I mean, so normally this is the part where we talk about is this our first time seeing it? This is all of our first times experiencing this movie, right?
Yes.
You know, this movie is unique because it's not only the first time we're going to watch this movie, I guarantee it's the last.
Well, Lydia and I have had a couple of those on the podcast.
Is that are you saying something about me?
Derek, all I have to say is, yeah, it's always about you.
Whatever.
All I'm saying is when it's your turn to pick, my butthole puckers a little bit. I'm a little afraid of what's coming up next. That's just it. So this movie, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, is one of the newest movies, is the newest movie I think we've reviewed. It is 2023. This came out this year. It's available on all streaming services that you have to pay for, like Amazon, YouTube, that sort of stuff.
Yep.
So you can rent it on any of the VOD platforms. And it is a British horror film written and directed by Rice Frake Waterfield, based off of the, A.A. Milne and E.H. Shepard and Winnie the Pooh books. So this movie is something. I guess it is a movie that exists because they put footage together in a sequence.
I mean, you're not wrong.
So here we are. Where do you want to start, guys? Where do you want to start?
I feel like we need to start at the beginning.
Yes.
At the beginning, this guy.
Because it does have a bit of a unique. So first off, they go into this like monologue of like what has happened, right? So Christopher Robin.
We get a backstory. Over cartoon drawings. Yes.
Yeah, and so the funny thing is that they're like, oh yeah, these aren't real animals; these are mutated animals or hybrids.
Breeds. They're half breeds.
Half breeds, like which would lead you to believe if they're half breeds, there's some funny business going on a farm nearby.
Right.
But that's all I have to say.
I kind of liked the drawing aspect of it and the narration of it. What I didn't like was the dialogue of it. You know what I mean?
Well, you don't like the content of it. Correct.
It's worded very weirdly, and it's very like
bad.
It's bad. It's just bad.
My favorite part.
They give you everything you need, though. They're like, this
Yeah.
happened, and now this is happening, and then that happened. And you're like, okay.
I do like that at the end of that, they're like, and they got hungry, so they ate Eeyore. I'm like,
yeah,
hilarious. And then they're like, we blame Christopher Robin for us eating Eeyore.
Yeah, they went feral.
It's like,
yeah, they went feral.
Couldn't you go and pick berries? Couldn't you eat other animals? That's just wild. All of that's wild.
None of it made sense.
None of it. Well, it's nonsensical is why it didn't make any sense.
Yes.
It's legitimately nonsensical.
Yes.
Also, here's something that it happens in the opening and then later on in the movie, and I'll talk about it too. So I'll talk about it now, I guess, because we'll just talk about whatever pops up. So very specifically in the beginning of this narration, he says that they made a pact to quit talking, that they won't talk anymore.
Which was the biggest problem I had.
Yes, because then later in the movie, they stumble across this woman who's been tied up and had her face beaten up and mauled by Piglet.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, his name is Winnie the Pooh, and his name is Piglet. They call themselves Pooh and Piglet. And then but they don't talk anymore. And then she says, I heard, they called themselves Pooh and Piglet.
Yeah.
And they gives a backstory. Christopher Robin left them, so they felt alone. And then she says, I asked Piglet what's going on, and he couldn't talk. He just grunted. And I was like, well, which is it, lady?
Yeah.
Did they call themselves Pooh and Piglet, or did they not?
So it led me to believe that she knew them before this encounter. Is what I got from that.
I was confused who she was, honestly.
I did not. She's the woman from the gas
was
station.
Yeah, from the gas station.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
she's a woman from the gas station.
It would have made more sense if it was the girlfriend from the beginning that she would have known their names.
His wife that they
his
killed
wife
off?
or whatever, yeah.
Well, there's a lot of that going on. That there's just leaps of logic and leaps of emotions that don't make sense. That would have made sense if it was another character. So, yeah, that's a big problem for me because it's actually mentioned a couple different times. And then at the end, he talks, of course. Anyway.
Yeah, he does.
So it's whatever. So our opening kill is... The whole opening here is so weird. So we get Christopher Robin as an adult saying, I'm coming back to show you my friends because I'll show you they're real. And she's like, honey, they're not, but I'll follow you, sure, in the woods.
Dialogue in this scene
is terrible.
It's
the delivery
so bad.
Is terrible.
It's so bad. It's kind of amazing because I feel like their acting isn't even that bad. And I love their accents so much. I really genuinely appreciate their accents. But
Speaking of accents, my favorite is everybody's British because it takes place in British, except for the fucking gas station guy.
The mechanic.
The gas station, yeah.
I was thinking that too. I was like, he's not British. I can tell. But he kind of is trying to put an inflection on what he's saying.
Part of it,
poorly.
Yeah, it's
poorly
just
an inflection in there.
That's like Costner. That's like fucking Robin Hood Costner levels bad. I mean, way worse.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I would change the title of this movie, and we'll get to the part where this kind of becomes important. Yeah. I would rephrase this as Pooh, Terminator, Blood and Honey.
Yeah, yeah. So this opening, So they go to Pooh, they go to the area, and we see just a cardboard. We see a piece of cardboard that says R.I.P. Eeyore.
Yeah. And there's just airstreams and old cars and stuff. I was like, what? Why do they have airstreams?
They stumbled upon a group of gypsies.
Apparently, so
is what happened.
Yeah.
So anyway, Piglet pops out and murders her, chokes her to death with a chain, and she randomly bleeds. I don't know what happens. It's kind of weird. And then he runs into Pooh, who this shot of Pooh, he's supposed to be scary and cool, and he popped up, and I fucking died.
Yes.
It's and with let's talk about their designs. What do you guys think of their designs?
I have some thoughts.
I have some thoughts. I have some feelings.
Oh. I personally think that Piglet's design isn't that bad. I think Pooh...
I could see that.
Piglet actually looks like a pig. Pooh does not look like anything. It looks like a mask.
It looks like a Halloween mask, right?
It looks like a mask, yeah. Which
is what we were saying.
I kind of wish it would have been kind of fuzzy or something, but it's pretty clearly a silicone prosthetic piece. It's not bad all the time. It's just weird. It's just weird.
It's stiff. It doesn't do anything.
It doesn't look like an animal. It doesn't look like a bear. It doesn't look like Pooh. It doesn't look like anything. It bothers me.
There's some scenes where there's this backlit silhouette, right? And you can see through the plastic of his ears, and you're just oh my God.
That's the good thing about the silicone masks and stuff. And I think like the craftsmanship that went into it is done really well because you can't see the seams or anything like that. Like I think the work that went into it was good, but the design is ugly.
Yeah, it is.
For a movie that's like purposely like Winnie the Pooh and Piglet are the killers. Like that's the story. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, Christopher, they're mad at Christopher Robin. Doesn't matter why, they just are. Okay. Like it's just that's
not the best design. Yeah.
It's so basic. It's just such a basic thought. And they're like, put it on the screen. And I think like actually for that, it's not that bad. I think we've watched worse movies than this on this podcast.
What?
Not many.
I mean, I can think of one.
Yeah, I can maybe one or two, but it's pretty. It's down. It's like if it's not at the bottom of the barrel, it's like hanging out near it.
Mm-hmm.
It's floating down there. Especially when we meet our new characters, which are just nothings.
Yeah.
There's literally no connection with any of them.
Nope.
And their scenes are awkward and painful. When they're all together, it's really weird and awkward. Like the staging of the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
But the worst has to be the woman just up in her room.
Dancing?
Like, dance.
Yeah.
Well, at that point, I was like, maybe she's a cam person, but they confiscated their phones.
They didn't have the phones. Yeah,
so she's just up there doing that for practicing, I guess. I don't know. I don't.
It was really weird.
I don't know. She's like, man, I've got to work on my sexy, so I'm going to do this by myself.
So we get a murder in between these two scenes with their other friend, who is our gratuitous boobs.
Mm-hmm.
So this scene really is so confusing because at one point she's like on the call.
Dude, this movie has some of the worst editing.
Yeah.
Just the editing is all over the place. And this scene is the most egregious part, Derek. Go ahead.
Yeah, so like she's on the phone, she's calling, she's like, I'm out here, I'm terrible with directions, I don't know where I'm going. All right, she's not
spot on accent.
Wrong accent. Wrong accent.
It's like you're like better than the mechanic.
Yep. And so she's, trying to call her friends, but they had all put their phones away. And so then the next, literally like a cut. She's like running through the woods.
Yeah, there's a scene missing, I feel like.
There is
I feel like there's literally a scene missing.
I didn't even notice.
Oh, man, I noticed hardcore.
Lydia, were you?
Guys, I was just in it. I was just in it with them.
It's so awkward because it's like she's on the phone and she's like, I don't know where it is. And then the next shot, she's just running in the forest and then she looks and sees Pooh Bear. She's like, ah! And it's like there's a scene missing where he stalks her and she sees him and starts to run because it's just like it.
And why she didn't get back in her car, which she drove to this.
There's just she's like, for no reason, in the middle of the woods. She's like on the outskirts of the woods with her car. Then she's just in the middle of the woods and is randomly being chased by Pooh Bear. It's just like, what is going on?
Did you guys happen to watch this with subtitles on?
Yeah.
No.
You did? Because a lot of times it would be like Pooh growling noises,
Yeah.
Like I was like, I don't even really hear anything growling, but so I was like, maybe that was one of those, but
yeah. So she gets killed, and her kill is actually pretty cool, just ruined by terrible CG.
Oh, what?
The blood?
Great.
The blood is beyond awful, especially when it's coming out of because she gets her head stuck in the and it's supposed to be shooting out, and then you just see this awful CG blood going. Like I was like, no. Yeah, I was like, hey, this isn't bad. This is pretty good. And then that happened. I was like, nope.
I was distracted by the fact that
blood through it.
Her legs were still flailing while she was being chopped up for a while already.
Well, and her head was already smashed in. So it's just
her legs wouldn't be moving.
No, nonsensical. But that I was like, come on, guys, just pour blood down the thing. We built a gutter and put it down a mannequin's ass
butt gutter
to spray blood. You can do it. It cost us $2.45.
And it looked great.
It did. It was a good effect. So it's like, come on, guys. But then this next scene with the woman in the hot tub.
Mhm.
These characters are just, there's nothing between their ears.
Yeah, so like that girl that we just talked about and how she got like shoved into the wood chipper or what have you, randomly got her shirt ripped off.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you got this girl who was just dancing upstairs and she's like all provocative in the tub and she's just like, I'm just like, man, I don't understand your choice. Like the one makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
It would have made way more sense.
I mean,
for this scene.
Yeah.
I think
The actors didn't want to get nude. Yeah.
it's exactly the same reason Lumberjack Man had all the nudity. And
we know why the nudity's there, but he's
like,
right. What he's saying is it would have made
like,
more sense for the hot tub woman to get naked because it makes more story sense because she's already in a bra or in a bathing suit.
Yeah.
It's just the actress probably didn't want to get naked. So it probably was scripted that she was nude or got her top taken off. And she's like, nah, I'm not getting naked for fucking poop, blood, and honey. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
That was her shot to stardom.
Well, and I was looking at like these actors and the director of this movie, and it seems like they all work together on a lot of other things.
Yeah. It's a kind of like we do. You find your film family and you do what you can.
Yeah. These guys are a family.
Yep. You do your blood family. But yeah. So this part that she sees like in the she's taking pictures of herself and she sees him in the background, his silhouette. So her conclusion, her idea for this is to walk around the pool or the hot tub, turn on the light, and then turn her back to the area where she saw the figure that she thinks is probably the stalker that was trying to undress her friend.
Yeah, that's the part that didn't make any sense. If you took a picture of yourself and you saw someone behind you, the last thing you're going to do is put your back to the area you saw the person.
I like the idea of her taking pictures and she sees him in the background.
Yeah, I think that
I like
that a lot. It would have been better if she didn't recognize. So what they should have done is the bit where he's coming behind her, flashing. If she wouldn't have seen the picture until right before he attacks her.
Yeah.
You logically solve the problem. You solve it logically. Just rearrange that stuff a little bit.
You're right. Yeah.
I mean, but the last thing you would do is put your back, or put your back to where you saw
exactly. But if you didn't see the picture yet, then it happens. You see it right before, and then you're attacked. That makes way more sense, and it's also a really good scare.
Or when you're looking through them and you see them, and you're like, "What the heck?" and then you get attacked.
Yeah, that's what I just said. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to reassure everybody that we're on the same page.
We are just a couple days already, behind.
By the way.
Yeah.
I'm working on my second one. So.
So they find. So he knocks her out. Piglet and Pooh hog tie her up, and then they drive cars. By the way, apparently, so he drives a car over her head. And guys, this scene is something.
Yeah, when her eyeball pops out.
Yeah, bad. Not the best.
I was like,
what do you guys think?
CGI.
Mm-hmm. The effect of you could totally tell the wheels just kind of floating on, above her head. That's fine. But if you had just a bunch of practical blood splurting out, you'd be like, yeah, okay, I can get into this. But then they do that CG crap and it just totally kills it. Right? Is that just me? Or do you guys agree?
I didn't mind. I didn't care.
Yeah,
at this point, I really didn't care.
Well, there's that too.
I was not even thinking about it.
Like when they find the body, so two of them were out for a walk and they come back and they find the body. And there's still, because it's CGI, there's still like this squirt of blood that keeps going on a rhythm.
Yeah.
Just like
her heart is still beating or something.
Yeah.
After like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Dude, doesn't do that.
So they write "get out" on the. See, these creatures are smart enough to be able to read, write, and all that stuff, but they just decide that the best course of action is to eat their friend. And
I really like the line though of like where she like they see Get Out and they're all like, yeah, that's like there's someone out there, and she's like, maybe the stalker wrote that, or like maybe the person who killed her did that. It's like,
yeah,
did she really just say that?
what would have been great is if the killer comes in. Whoa! What? I kill people. I do not vandalize homes. That is not me.
It's like I cannot.
That's
spell.
not me.
I did. Not
I cannot. I do not even know how to read. What's not me? What does that say? Guthel? I don't know what it means. Piglet can't even talk. He just grunts.
Yeah.
Even though he can talk, I guess, because it's confusing. Doesn't make.
They vowed not to speak.
They vowed not to. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The thing. They vowed not to speak. They can speak. They just vowed not to. But then they break it.
But that's so funny that they're like, you know what? Let's just vow not to speak.
Yeah.
And remove all humanity. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on from that because we got some kills to get to eventually. Eventually, we have some kills to get to. So we get a chase scene. And they wind up at there's some really wonky blocking in this section. Some really wonky blocking where it's like all of it was like sneaking into Pooh's compound and like just the three of them.
Well, we missed the kill. We missed two.
You're like, oh no.
Yeah, we missed a kill and a kidnapping.
Oh yes, because there's the pool scene with Piglet and the two women. And one of the women is hit with a sledgehammer. After, for some reason, he sits for 5 minutes trying to hit her with a chain in the water.
Yes. Dude, that chain cracked me up. I think that's one of the things about this movie was that I was kind of enjoying myself watching it because I was laughing a lot during this. I laughed like the whole movie. Like this chain was like a big like plastic chain that you would get at like the Halloween store. And then when he drops it, it's like a tiny little dog chain.
Yeah,
I'm like, that was not even close to the same chain that he was holding.
And then it goes,
and it's like floating.
Like weighs 400 pounds.
Yeah. And it's like floating on the water when he's like trying to hit her with it. Like it's clearly just like plastic.
Yeah, so he hits her with a sledgehammer and then it's just like at the hitting the water over and over.
Yeah.
After he hits her. Then he kidnaps her. What do you guys think of this? What do you think of this scene, Derek?
Well, to be candid, I thought it was dog shit. So the one girl he knocks out, right?
Oh my god, brutal.
And then he gets. At first, I thought he was afraid of the water because he was doing that stupid chain thing, and I'm like, why don't you just get in there? And then he finally does. And then you're right, he's just like striking the water.
Yeah,
there's nothing there.
I liked the shot of him hitting her though.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean that one frame was pretty good. And
that shot was pretty nice.
Yeah, and then he kidnaps her. He kidnaps the other girl who he knocked out who was not in the pool.
So in between these scenes, we get like these drawn out scenes. Dude, the scene with Christopher Robin had me fucking crying laughing. Ridiculous. Like
where he got whipped by the ponytail hair of some.
It was Eeyore, I think. It's supposed to be Eeyore's tail, is what I'm gathering.
Dude, it looked like somebody who had a really long like tail, like they went to the barber and got it cut off.
Yeah, I wasn't clear on that either.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be Eeyore's tail. But when he's looks in the mirror and he has his flashback, I was fucking dying. I was like, oh no. He's like, come on, Pooh, we'll be friends forever. I'll never leave. And then he's like, and you see the tear fall down. I was like, what is going on?
I gotta be honest. I don't think at any point in time that I laughed.
I was laughing all the time. And actually, this scene really grossed me out. Effectively, like the music.
Oh, dude, that music's so dumb. It's
That
so
music
awful.
got me, dude. It about made me sick when that music kicks in and he starts pouring those like guts juice into the shower. I was like, that turned my stomach. I was like,
That's so funny.
That's
It made me laugh so hard. And what it also, that music, I was just like, this score is dreadful. I just can't with this. It's like, what was the thing it kept saying?
Somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere.
And then that smell.
That smell.
Yeah.
Somewhere. That smell.
I don't know why, but that got me. Seeing those words. If I wouldn't have had the subtitles on, I wouldn't have known that said that.
I didn't hear it. I just thought, like, I saw the subtitles and it said somewhere that smell, and I was like, what the fuck?
That made me so grossed out to hear that.
That made me laugh a lot. It was pretty funny. So, but when he starts crying in the mirror, that's just too much for me. I was just like, what is going on, man? Especially the way it's shot with it, like just going, like it's like clearly just been placed there. They're waiting for it to drip down. Good stuff. And then when she awakens from her kidnapping, Pooh's just eating a bunch of honey.
Oh my god.
Did you guys notice like the morphing that they did on the mask?
They do CG morphing a couple times.
Yeah, to make it look atrocious. Like his face moves.
Yeah. When he's doing the
gross. Yeah.
What'd you think of the honey part, Derek?
That was so dumb.
It was. I mean, it was so ineffective. I don't know why you wouldn't get a spoon. Because he's doing this. He's like scooping it up with his fingers, and he's like.
I mean, I guess. I mean,
Pooh Bear
always does.
Out. If he can spell "get out" or "leave" or whatever.
And by the way, they've announced their feral ways, but they're still wearing their clothes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was actually like, thank God they gave them pants.
Yeah. No kidding.
But yeah, if they can spell "get out," and not only that, but write it backwards so that if you're on the other side of the glass, you can read it correctly.
That is true. They did have to do that.
They
good point.
They could use spoons. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yep. Those are the two big like problems. Is like the feralness, but also wearing clothes, and then the stupidness and also being able to spell.
Yeah. And don't get so she wakes up. He goes over to her and starts playing that smell song again. And he just raises his hand and just
starts slapping her.
Dude, it made me laugh so much because I was like, the way his hand is, because it's like a guy in a rubber weird glove, and he's just like,
it's literally like a dish glove.
Yeah, and I'm dying. I'm like, oh man. And then Sarah's like, oh man, did he just beat her to death? And then she wakes up the next scene. I said,
nope,
no, she's fine. She slapped her out, I guess. I don't know.
She had like a little red cheek.
You're muted, Derek.
Anyway, I know we passed this, and it's a really minor thing, but like, so her and the one girl who got killed in the pool, the lady who just got bitch slapped, they were a couple.
Correct.
And so the girl who just got slapped had set up whenever they got to this resort or whatever it is, the cabin. It was like really romantic, but then there was like this really awkward moment between the two of them.
Yeah, it's never established.
And it's never explained, so it's just there for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Because at first I was like, is she the girl who got stalked? Maybe she's, just completely like.
Yeah, no, the stalked girl is a different girl. And so, no, I think it's there to make them feel more believable and lived in, which is fine. But it's kind of weird that they make such a point of it.
Yeah, I'm glad it wasn't the only one. Like maybe I missed something because it just didn't.
No,
make
there
any
just
sense.
wasn't. So they kind of make up.
Happened?
They kind of make up, and say "I love you" before Piglet comes in and attacks her with the plastic chain.
I mean, if you know you're gonna die.
So they rescue her, and before they get to her, or they rescue her, and then this is where I'm saying the wonky blocking is, where they're just kind of sneaking around, but it's just like a group of 4 of them, just like kind of going from place to place, and you're just like, what is going on? So they save Christopher Robin. They hear the other woman screaming, so they go to save her. And it gets wild here. So you all right?
Yes.
What was that?
Scared me. I don't know. All my screens just went black.
Yeah, I know. You just went dark all of a sudden.
That was weird.
Since we had a moment to pause, I do want to bring this up. The real awkwardness of Christopher Robin when he gets free, he was like, "Go save her."
Yeah.
Forget about me. There's acting at its best, but
oh yeah, for sure.
It was just really awkward when he was like trying to convince them to leave him.
Yeah, especially since it's like, so here's where I'll get into that stuff I was talking about earlier. Is I have a problem with this part. So this woman is like chained up. We don't know her from Adam. We don't know anything about her, but she gives us more backstory. She gives the backstory to the characters, but they don't need to know because none of them live. So it doesn't matter if they know who he is.
Yeah. And also untie her first.
Yeah. And so she goes into this whole monologue of stuff that we heard at the beginning. We know all of this.
Yeah.
Like if we hadn't heard any of that at the beginning and it was relayed here, it would be an awkward exposition dump. But it would at least make sense why we're getting the expedition dump. This way, it just doesn't make sense why we're getting it at all. We already know all of this. We know this. We know that's Piglet. We know that's Pooh.
Yeah.
We don't need to know. And these characters aren't going to be alive long enough to even factor into them. So what does it matter?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a great point because, spoiler alert, no one survives.
Yeah.
It makes this part absolutely make... They're like, man, we need to hit our 1 hour and like X number of minutes. We need this
like 85 minutes.
3-minute monologue of her telling us.
So I'm going to say at least this doesn't drag. That's one thing we'll say about the movie. But so she calls out for no reason. She turns into the fucking "We Made You" woman from Maximum Overdrive. We made you.
Yeah.
Grabs the gun. Is like, Piglet, you did this to my face.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Put bad prosthetics on it? I don't understand.
Yeah.
So, real quick, we need to explain where this game, because they have a gun and where it came from. So the girl who got stalked had a gun, which they went and got. And that makes sense.
She forgot she had it for a while until
apparently
way later.
Yeah. So
like, I have a gun, by the way. How do you forget that?
No, we see our dead friend and we're being stalked by Pooh.
Yeah.
Which time out before you continue. There's a shot in here that really cracked me up during the get out scene.
Mm-hmm.
This is Sarah had walked in at this point, and it shows it. She's like, she's like, it's my stalker. He's after me. And then they see him in the window with his stupid face. And
yes,
it was looked so dumb. And then she's like, he's after me. I was like, how would you ever confuse that with your stalker?
Yeah.
Yeah. I laughed. I was like, this must be where Jamie was talking about the editing being messed up.
Yeah, this is bad. It's not good.
Because like somebody just put that in there where it like should not have been.
Yeah, there's a lot of those.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those. So Derek, continue with what you were talking about. Yes. Sorry.
No, you're good. So if you forgot you had a gun and you went and you got it, what's the first thing that you would do?
Make sure it has bullets.
Yeah, you would check to see if it's loaded.
Yes.
Right? At which point you would see that you had how many bullets?
One, apparently.
Right. So in this scene, when the lady fires the gun, would you not say, hey, there was only one bullet in there. It doesn't have any more ammo.
Well, they never check it, apparently, because she just says,
I know. Well, that's the whole point. Like
firing.
Yeah.
So they make it seem like maybe it's a misfire, but that doesn't make sense.
I would have tried to
6 rounds.
Unload the clip on that guy.
So yeah, she calls out Piglet, and then he goes and kills her anyway, mauls her face. They end up running because Pooh arrives. So Pooh's chasing them. The one girl hides, knocks out Piglet with the sledgehammer, and then tortures Piglet. He has him tied up with his plastic chains.
Yeah.
She's like, "You like those chains," and just starts beating the fuck out of him with the sledgehammer. So Pooh hears Piglet in the distance squeal.
Yeah, some squeal.
She's like, "Hey, wait! Did you see that?" And he stops and looks. What's he doing? And then Piglet squeals, and he's like, "He sounds like he's hurt."
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So this woman effectively either kills or knocks out Piglet because he's just not doing anything after she gives him that last final whack with the sledgehammer on the top of his head. But somehow she misses the fact that there's a 6'7" giant 300-pound bear man, because this cut is so hilarious. She's like this, and then the next scene, he's like right on her, grabbing her, and I was like, what? That's what I'm saying with the cuts. It's just like, he's right there, and he stabs her in the mouth with the machete. What do you guys think of this kill?
I don't even remember that.
was that where the wine kicked in?
No, like I genuinely don't remember him stabbing her in the mouth. I must have looked away for like a split second or something.
So I remember him doing it, and I also remember like you can tell that like the depth perception of the thing is off. Yeah,
that's funny.
Now the hanging portion,
I missed that.
Pretty good, but
yeah. Like so the initial one is clearly just that old trick, where you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that, which is fine, but yeah, it wasn't the best. But when it's hanging, yeah, it looks pretty good, except for the CGI blood that they throw in, just squirting out.
Splash, splash.
Yeah. It's so, I hate CGI blood because it's so just uniform. You know what I mean? It's just,
Mm-hmm.
It's like obvious.
Yeah, and because it's way too shiny.
Yeah.
Don't like it. Down with CGI blood. If I can help it. Excuse me. So next. So she's dead. So the two survivors run. But the best part is they follow Pooh back. Like, we got to save our friend. Mm-hmm. So they follow Pooh back, and they see him kill her. And they duck down behind a box. And one of them inevitably knocks something off or says something, and he turns around and he's like, oh! And it chases on again. So they run into the mechanic and his friends. In this scene, guys, is special. Derek, I'll let you talk about this scene. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this scene.
Well, at first I thought that they were going to be mean to her, but then they don't. So you're right. Like, there's all these native people, and then there's this one guy who speaks English, and he looks like he came out of I don't know, a Rob Zombie movie. And so they're like, oh, how you doing this to this girl? You're harassing her. And so then they go to confront him, and it's actually like the scene from Halloween
Kills. Yeah.
Yes.
And they're beating him down. And
I thought about that too.
And then he's like, "No, Terminator." So then he kills that entire posse.
It's like they watch Halloween Kills right before they wrote this, and they're like, let's do that scene.
Yeah.
But
except in Halloween Kills, except for in Halloween Kills, it's an iconic killer that we've watched for 40 years on the screen.
Yeah.
And we're pumped up when it happens because we're like, yeah, at least I was like, yeah. In this one, we're
pumped up for Winnie the Pooh?
I was like, what? Because the way he just hits him and he's like, "Mah," on his leg, and then he just somehow gets uber strength. Like, that's not in any of the backstory.
He looks gigantic too. It looks like he grew
there's one
10 times his size.
There's one shot, the shot where he punches the dude's face off.
Yeah.
Where the dude looks about this big compared to him.
Yes, he's
And I was like,
tiny.
why did they choose that angle? That's so strange.
I literally thought he like grew, like he like powered up. Like,
yeah.
I know, yeah. And he's like, oh,
Yeah, nope. And then you see him in the next shot, they're about the same height, and you're like,
and then he punches a guy's hand off. Like he just like holds his arm and like no hand anymore. Which I was like, that's a choice. Like
then he punches the dude's throat off, like he slices his throat with his fist.
Which seems like a bear thing to do. Like,
well, yeah, if he clawed it,
he goes like this and cuts one guy's arm off.
Yeah, he punches the dude's hand off. Yeah.
It's so goofy.
It was more like a karate chop.
It was a karate chop. It was. I thought the same thing. I was like, did he just karate chop that guy's hand off?
And so, how's he kill the last guy? I don't remember what he does. I think maybe just. I really don't remember.
I don't either.
So he kills all of them.
Ridiculous.
It was all something. So he kills all of them, and then they run him over with the truck, but he somehow Indiana Joneses underneath it and gets on the back, Halloween 4 style.
Oh, yeah.
And then he just watch it. They just did a Halloween marathon right before this.
No. Go ahead.
And then he's on the top of it, smashing it, trying to get to him.
And somehow he's not strong enough to do that, even though
I don't understand that. That's what I was thinking.
Face off.
I was like, he punched a dude's face off, an arm off, their throat off, and then he's just like, I can't even break the windshield.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
What were you going to say, Derek?
Yeah.
What the hell do they run into?
Nothing.
I don't know.
Nothing.
The editing in this scene is the worst.
She hit the brakes.
Yeah, and like totally
knocked herself out.
Yep.
Winnie the Pooh is fine. She's all messed up. Friend gets beheaded, decapitated.
Yeah, because he takes her out and he beheads her.
It makes no sense at all.
No, the editing is
really. I was like, oh my god! Like this whole movie.
The editing in this part is awful. Yeah, it's so confusing.
Everything else I've seen, fine. This pissed me off. I was like, she hit the brakes and knocked herself out.
Like,
why?
Even if that were a thing, as soon as she knocked herself out, the car would keep rolling. It wasn't a stick shift.
Yeah.
It was an automatic. So
I think we're supposed to assume that she hit something, but I don't know what it was. Like
she was just in the middle of the road. I don't.
It was another one of those poor choices.
Yeah,
I just don't know. Choice.
Don't know what happened there. I was confused. And then after he gets up and he's coming to her, he pulls her out and he's about to kill her. And then we get that CGI morphing of his face. Yeah. He's about to stab him and it goes.
He smiles.
Yeah.
And sometimes his ears kind of move a little bit.
Yeah. He gives that weird smile and then Christopher Robin shows up and rams another truck into him.
Yeah.
Which you think is the end of the movie, or at least, then you will get like a him moving kind of thing. Nope. He just decides to push both cars away like they were nothing.
Terminator.
And then he takes the heroin girl and slices her throat. Now this scene, Christopher Robin is like, no, take me, not her. And it makes it seem like it would be way more, made more of an impact if it was his wife.
Yes,
that he's begging for.
I was like, why?
Instead of a complete stranger.
Is this a stranger?
Yeah. And so we have this really emotional after he like holds her. No. It's like, you don't know her. After he cut her throat, I would have ran.
Yeah. Oh, he also speak, by the way. He spoke.
Oh, yeah.
He spoke.
You left.
Like, oh, you broke your vow.
I am Pharaoh no more.
And so he slices her throat, and then he goes down and starts stabbing her.
Yeah.
While Christopher Robin escapes. So Christopher Robin is on the run. And then it just ends. It's like not like the ending is like. What do you guys think of the ending?
No bueno.
Didn't come soon enough.
Well, it's just kind of very like.
Yep.
Yeah. I was actually like, is there going to be another scene? And when the credits came up, I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah,
I was so relieved that there wasn't another
it's
scene.
over. It's over.
Because it kind
It's
of
over,
paused.
folks.
It paused just long enough that I was like, are they going to show something else? Please don't show
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah. What'd you think of this ending, Derek?
I mean, other than I joked that it didn't come soon enough, it just, man, it falls flat. Because when he's begging for her life, you're right. They're like, there's no connection there. And then, I mean, and if you're Pooh, like, you know, why would you let her live and him capture him when you could kill her and still capture him?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's like the entire movie, it didn't make any sense.
Like Christopher Robin is like the Laurie Strode,
Yeah.
which I
Pretty
wasn't
much.
expecting.
Yeah. And I mean, he's only in it a couple. So the sequel that we're getting for this movie is following that basically.
The sequel.
Yeah, remember that's why we talked about it. It's because they're making another one,
Oh,
and
Yeah,
it's
wait
supposed
till
to
I get
follow
to-
Christopher.
Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna have to watch that one
Supposed to
too.
follow Christopher Walken. Christopher Robin. I wish it followed Christopher Walken. It follows Christopher Robin, doing his thing, running from Pooh, I guess.
Oh wow. Okay.
Or has he escaped and brought back a posse? I mean, that'd be the Hatchet 2 way to go. You escape and bring back a posse to kill the monsters.
You know what also doesn't make any sense? So at the beginning of this movie,
Please tell me.
You're right. This is the one part that doesn't make any sense.
What is it, Derek?
So at the beginning of the movie, when they are giving the explanation, there is Pooh, there's Eeyore,
Yes.
he gets eaten. There's Piglet, there's Owl, and there's Rabbit.
Yes.
Mr. Rabbit, yeah.
And you don't ever hear anything or see anything about Rabbit or Owl.
Yeah, I'm assuming that we're supposed to believe that they were killed as well, but we don't get that. The only one we know dies is Eeyore.
Dude.
He's the only one who gets a sign.
Dude, yeah, it's gonna. One of them's gonna be back because they only say Eeyore dies. Rabbit and Owl are out there. I was
they're
thinking the same thing.
Sequel.
Maybe one of them is going to turn against Pooh.
Ooh.
And he's going to stand up against him because they realize this is wrong.
Dead.
Yeah.
Piglet's dead, right?
I don't know.
So I think
Winnie the Pooh got hit by a fucking car and then just shrugged it off. So who knows?
I want to see Owl and Rabbit in the next one.
Guys, that's how the other guy dies. It's the fucking dumbest kill in the movie. Winnie the Pooh can control bees.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
I remember that. I was going to
gosh.
say something about that. Yeah.
He
You're
points
right.
the bees
How
at
could
the
I
guy.
forget?
Oh,
Yeah, he just like moves his arm, tells the bees to come out of the woods.
yeah, and they attack him. Oh,
Yeah, that's a weird power for Pooh Bear to have.
remember that in the stories?
Why is he magical now? Like that? But that makes him like a super.
That makes him
supernatural.
Yeah, as opposed to a half human. All of it does. Him just getting murked by a car twice and then just shrugging it off.
That's true. Yeah. Weird.
So that was
weird.
Pooh, Blood and Honey. Now, guys, before we start talking about this, I want to. So the director, Rise Frank Waterfield, guys, you know what his next two movies are?
What?
He's producing and writing Bambi: The Reckoning,
Yes.
which we talked about.
Yes.
Yep.
Followed by Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, which he is directing. He's literally just like, I'm just going to take public domain fairy tales and turn them into horror movies.
I respect that.
Yeah. Let me tell you what, this movie gave some controversy in my household.
Oh, no.
did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Quincy was she was legitimately mad.
I
One, that we
was
were
mad.
doing this. Two, that like this was even a movie, a thing. and then like I would like bring up references, and I mean, like the most mundane reference, and and our kids were around, and she like made a comment. I'm like, they have no idea what I'm talking about. Like, she did not like this movie.
Yes, I remember when Jamie first told us about this, and I was mad because I grew up with a Winnie the Pooh bedroom. Like that was my thing. Like I loved Winnie the Pooh when I was little, and it's such a sweet thing. How could you like, make it this nasty monstrosity? Like how could you do that? It's not right. But like honestly, watching this movie, I'm more open to watching this guy's other movies now.
That's funny. Derek has the exact opposite. I know that.
Yeah. I'm good. Yes.
It's so weird, but I had such a good time watching this.
I'm glad. I am. I legitimately am.
If you want to watch a good adult Christopher Robin movie, watch Disney's Christopher Robin with Ewan McGregor, by the way.
Oh, I have not seen that because I'm afraid it'll make me cry.
Oh,
this one made me cry in a different way. I was crying laughing.
So, guys, what are you guys going to rate this thing?
I got my rating already.
Obviously, it has a ceiling. We have a ceiling of about 5. But right. What are we rating this thing?
Well, Jamie, you and I had a scale back in the day. I'm going to follow that scale, and so this movie gets a 2.
Oh, okay.
All right. I think I'm going to give this movie a 3.5.
Okay.
Ooh.
Big
That's pretty
spender.
high, right?
It is pretty high. I mean,
go
ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Derek.
I was going to say, so without, I don't want to go into detail, but without our scale, I would have given this movie a 1. But
that's what I thought you guys were probably going to give it after hearing your responses.
Well,
I was like, they're probably going to kill me for giving this a 3.
No, you give it what you want. I mean, obviously, if you would have given it like a 7, I'd have said, Lydia, your services are no longer needed.
Yeah, I'm just fired.
Yeah. No, like, you know what? I mean, they tried. It is what it is. The concept's dumb. There's some filmmaking issues, I feel. I think there's some, especially in the editing and writing department. It's not for me. Some people might connect with this, but I'm going to give it just exactly what IMDb does. It's a 3 for me because I've seen worse. But it's definitely in the bottom of the list. It's not the best.
Yeah.
I can't give it a 4 because I do think that movies like Children of the Night are better than this. Because I think that is a better made movie, technically.
Yeah, technically.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah, but it's the technical prowess of it's way better.
Yes.
Popcorn, the technical prowess is better.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Monsters,
this is like
it's way worse.
It's Monsters is technically a better movie too, but Monsters is just unwatchable.
Worse. It's just
it's just unwatchable.
Yeah,
it's just unwatchable. This is watchable, but only once. Like I'm never gonna watch this thing again. And I really hope that Derek doesn't pick the sequels anytime soon.
So do you guys want to know where this falls?
I will be.
Where does this fall?
So this is, as far as like being like bottom to top, this is 3rd. The only things that were worse than this that we've rated is The Munsters and Children of the Night.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Rawhead Rex beat it.
Rawhead Rex is a better movie for sure.
And Critters 3.
I think Lumberjack Man is way worse than this.
Lumberjack Man beat it by a mile.
I think Lumberjack Man is technically a way better movie.
I think it was.
It's a way more competent film. It's a way more competent film.
I had way more enjoyment out of this one though.
I don't know. I think they're both about the same.
Really
I think both of them. I think I gave both of them a 3.
Lumberjack Man.
I think I gave them both a 3. I think they're like on par with each other.
Lydia, was it where the guy got beat to death with the flapjacks? Is that where you drew the line?
I think I drew the line at every single scene that I saw in that movie. I was really surprised because I thought I was gonna hate this movie the way I hated that movie. And when I started watching it and I'm laughing and I'm having a great time.
You know what it is?
And
It's just you were in
I
the
like
right
it.
mood for it. You were just in the right mood for it.
That might
If you
be.
weren't, and you were being more analytical and critical of it, you would have given it like a 1.
It's
or a
like the
2.
theory of
Yeah.
like I watched a bad movie on a good day,
Yeah.
you know, versus like a bad movie on a bad day. You know,
Because then it just accentuates the badness.
Yes, yes. So
Yeah,
I had
absolutely.
a great day today. Took my dad out for his birthday. Like we had a great time. I was in a good mood. I had a good time watching this movie with Jake, and Jake was even like laughing, and we had a good time. So,
All right, guys, that wraps up Pooh, Blood, and Honey. Who do you think Tom Atkins would play in Pooh, Blood, and Honey?
Thrill me.
This might be one of the first where he just would not accept a role in it.
yeah, I do think maybe the mechanic would be fun.
I guess. We'll cast him as Christopher Robin. That way he can be in the sequel.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you know, having him killed by bees is kind of a.
Well, the guy that's killed by bees was just even that wasn't even the mechanic. The mechanic gets punched in the neck. It was just one of the random goons.
Maybe one of them.
I just don't think I think he would just not be in any of in this movie. He may be a background character that walks by and says, "I'm not going to be part of this."
Yeah. I think the mechanic, just because that guy was clearly American.
100% American. Yeah. That's the best part. I think that role should be played by Kevin Costner.
And yeah, imagine this movie cast with like A-list celebrities, you know?
No, it would. I don't
if
think
they actually had character traits other than being addicted to cell phones.
Yeah. They're like, we have all of our cell phones, you know, hand them over. And then she's like, I'm going to steal mine back so I can take hot tub pickies.
Yeah, I'm not handing mine over. She's like, fine.
She's like, I was tired of posing in my room for no reason.
Yeah, she's just like, imagine. I mean, like, there are people like that in the world. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Just like take away their phone and they're still just posing for nothing.
They go Vogue. All right, guys. So it's my turn to pick next week's movie.
All right. What do we got, Jamie?
So I'm kind of going back and forth on two different ones. And they're both from the 90s.
Ooh.
So we're going to get into some 90s horror. And I wanted to do a really good one following this one. And so what we're going to do is Martin Scorsese's Cape Fear.
Cape Fear?
Cape motherfucking Fear.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I haven't seen that one in a minute.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a really good one.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not. I don't know. We have to review it.
Oh, we're going to find out.
Yeah. But Martin Scorsese's Cape Fear is what we're doing next week.
What?
So it is available on Tubi for free.
To be or not to be?
Yes, Lydia. That is true.
Derek, do you have a story for us?
All right, so when I was at Ball State, I had this party at my house, and so a whole bunch of people came over I worked with, and just like they brought friends. It was actually a pretty big party, and I drank like 11 or 12 beers. Like I was absolutely just toasted, and I had a little bit more tolerance back in college, but like not that much, right? So I was falling over at one point. I fell into the bathtub because I was trying to pee, and I backed up too far, and I fell in, and then I had to get my roommate to come in and help me out of the bathtub. And I'm like outside playing cornhole with a bunch of of coworkers and stuff like that, dude. And I'm at one point I took my pants off.
Oh my God.
And I fell over, and they're like, "He's done." I do remember. I don't think I've ever actually blacked out while drinking, which is probably a good thing. But they're like, "He's done," and I'm like, "I'm not done." And I got up. We were playing cornhole, and it's like the more I drank, the better I got at that game. I like chucked the cornhole bag. It hit a telephone pole. Like one of the lines that ran to the house. It hit the telephone pole, flipped over, and landed on the board.
Nice.
On the cornhole board. I was pretty, but what really capped it off was everybody had went home, and I'm like outside, like wobbling around all by myself. Like they left me alone. And these guys come into my backyard, and they're like, "Hey man, you guys got any beer?" Or something like that. "No, I don't have any more beer." And I forget what caused this, but for some reason we had this like plastic picnic table, or not plastic picnic, like a plastic table in the back. And it's like thick plastic. And I just put my hand right through that table and I pulled it out. And like the entire side of my hand had like it peeled the skin off of it. And it was just like, and they're like, those two guys, because they were also very drunk, and they're like, "Oh my God, dude, your hand is bleeding so bad." And I'm like, "Yeah, it is." And my roommate, who was kind of like keeping track of me the entire night, came out around that point and took me into the house and bandaged me up and got me safely to bed.
Whispered in your ear, "I love you.
I love you, dear." I love when you call me, or when you say,
Kiddo.
when you call me kiddo.
That's a good story. That was a good one. See, that was much better than the first attempt that we cut. All right, guys, and that is our show. Thanks for watching. You can watch Martin Scorsese's Cape Fear on Tubi. You can follow us all online. You can follow us at HiLaProductions.com. Follow us on Facebook at HiLa Productions. Follow each of us at Twitter. Follow Lydia at Lydia Spooky. Follow Derek at The Dogly Master. Follow me at Racket. You can see us on Instagram at Screen Bloody Movies. Stay tuned next week for Cape Fear and also some news about some other stuff that we have coming up. So be sure to tune in for that. Comment down below on what your favorite scene of Pooh Blended Honey is. And tell us what you think should be the next fairy tale that gets Waterfield-fied. So if there's nothing else, for Derek Lemaster and Lydia Judy, I'm Jamie Hiles. Remember, if you're going to scream bloody movies.